now this is going to be interesting, especially with somebody like Virender Sehwag. We'll talk about his temperament. Now, that in itself, I think, is somebody should do a real study on these people. Mahendra Singh Dhoni, Sehwag, they just think different, temperamentally, completely a different animal. Sehwag is.
Very secure. I think one of the words that comes to my mind about him is that he's incredibly secure in his own personality, and he's never really felt the need to change. He's had his ups and downs through a career, as you would over 10, 12 years, but he's remained the same, and he's had a belief that this is the way I want to play. I want to be positive. I want to be attacking. I want to go out there and play my brand of cricket, which works for me, and he's never felt the need to change. I think that requires a mental strength as well. Through ups and downs, to stick to what you know and what you think works for you is a sign of security for me.
And how much of that, the aggression and the cool manner that he shows on the field is posturing, and how much is that genuine? Does he, for example, what I find amazing about him is, I always say on commentary that he's got short-term memory loss. 3 balls he would beat outside the off stump, get beaten outside the off stump, and next he would disappear for 3 scorching boundaries. So is it something that he's gifted with? Doesn't make a big fuss about something that's gone wrong, and he's genuinely a guy who's cool.
Yeah, I think that's his personality. I think that's an inborn personality. I mean, even if you look at Viru outside of the playing field, in the dressing room, one of the things that he does as soon as he gets out is removes his pads and gloves, and in 5-10 minutes later you'll see him smiling and laughing and joking. He might be hurting inside, and I think he definitely does hurt. I think this impression that people have that Viru doesn't care is absolutely wrong. I mean, Viru cares deeply and hurts as well. But he has a great ability of being able to mask it, to forget about it. So in a way, it is a bit of posturing. It is a bit of, I think, bravado. But also, I think he has that gift and that ability to be able to look positive and to be able to look ahead, and back himself. I think in saying that, look, this is the way I play. And this is the way I'm going to play.
What about when he's failing, and he's become such an important player for India in test matches, on occasions when India is looking to save a match or play for a draw, and here you have Virender Sehwag coming in and trying to hit the ball into orbit and getting out. Does that reach him, the anguish of the fans, saying, come on, bat slightly differently in situations like this? Does he know about all this?
I think he does. He's not going to be able to succeed, he believes, if he tries to bat any different. And it can be frustrating, especially sometimes to teammates and people, coaches. It requires a little bit of different handling, Viru. You have to understand his temperament and where he's coming from, because he can frustrate you at times, but you have to accept that a little bit with him, because when it comes off, as we've seen, it comes off spectacularly and it gives you great results. So it's both sides of the coin. You're not going to get the good side without sometimes being frustrated a little bit.
So what gets said in the dressing room that Sehwag has played that kind of a shot? I'm sure he's hurting inside. But say a coach like Gary Kirsten or Fletcher or the captain, would they say anything to Sehwag or just leave him alone to handle that situation?
It's been about leaving him alone. I think most coaches have figured out that Viru plays in his particular style. And until the runs have been coming, until he's been successful, no one has questioned it. And, rightly so. Off late, and especially in the last 4 or 5 away series, Viru has struggled, not got the runs that, you would expect of him. And questions have been asked, and he's lost his place in the test side, which is, really sad. I mean, if you think about it. But in the end, it depends on the number of runs you score. I guess the challenging time is now.
And is it the same in the dressing room when he's not playing well as opposed to when he's playing well?
He's always positive. He's always saying things. There are times, where his directness can also sometimes seem to be the wrong thing at that particular point of time. But in general, you want that kind of character who's able to say what is in the top of his head. Sometimes people hold back in a dressing room and don't say things that sometimes should be said. And I don't think Viru is that kind of person. He will say what's at the top of his head. Sometimes it works for him and for the team, and sometimes it doesn't. But like his batting, you've got to take the good with the bad.
Is he one to seek advice as well? If he's not playing, would he come to Tendulkar or you and ask you, is there something I need to do differently?
The impression like I said, that Viru, doesn't care and he's this carefree, happy-go-lucky player is actually quite is a. There is a side of him, there's a side of that personality that's true, but he does care. When he's not going through a good form or not going through good runs, he bats as much as any one of us, ever did in the nets. He'll hit a lot of balls. He'll practice a lot. He asks questions. He looks at videos. He goes to the video analyst's room. I've seen him many times, sit with video analysts and look at his batting, and mostly he's looking at him hitting fours. But there is an analytical and a clever mind, inside that personality.
And something that he also likes to share, for example, you mentioned that innings at Gaul, when he got that double hundred. I think the second highest scorer was Gambhir getting a 50, and there was another 30. And that contribution from Sehwag was large when you look at the team total. So in cases like this, does he come in and tell you guys, what's your problem with Ajanta, man? This is the way to, play him. Does he impart that knowledge, or,
He's always like that. So anytime he comes in, he says the best way to tackle a bowler is to just smash him or to him. So if you don't have that level of skill or that
mindset, didn't help you too much with your
not with my
plans.
mindset. Telling me to just step out and smash every bowler is probably not going to work for me personally. But it gives you an incline into his mindset. A kind of thing where attack is the best form of defense, and he was always looking to attack and be positive. But yeah, he was unique in that sense. It's hard to transfer. The way he played requires not only a high level of skill, as we've discussed earlier, but also requires a kind of mindset and a temperament that is in itself unique to Viru.